Hello, and thanks for watching. On behalf of Freeport Pro Government, I'd like to talk to you today about our initiative to change to a city manager form of government in Freeport. Since the city manager form of government has been discussed for years, most of you probably know pretty much what it's all about. We'd still have elected aldermen and an elected mayor, but as you can see in this chart, the difference is that a hired professional manager would be brought in to oversee the day-to-day operations of the city under the watchful eye of those elected leaders. The trend is clear. According to a 2007 report, the number of municipalities operating under the managerial form of government increased from 35% to 49%, while the number of cities operating under mayor-council decreased from 56% to 44%. Even outside the Chicago area, many of our rural Illinois neighbors have moved to the council-manager form of government, including DeKalb, Princeton, Rock Island, Sterling, Sycamore, and others. We've sat down and talked with some of the city managers from several of these cities, and we'll share some of what we learned with you. We want to be clear that when we speak about professionalism, we're not taking a cheap shot at the current mayor or any past mayors or their administrations. We're speaking instead about the skills and abilities brought by a professional city manager in terms of education in the field of public administration, experience from their prior positions, and the professional approach they would bring as part of our local government team. The communities who have adopted the council manager form of government already have realized the increasingly complex financial, legal, and regulatory aspects of city administration require those professional skills. But it's more than just a resume. The city manager becomes a key partner with the mayor and council, making sure that their policies are implemented properly and acting as an internal expert and advisor to research alternatives and make recommendations while remaining neutral and non-political as mandated by the ICMA Code of Ethics. Since the city manager concept is pretty well understood, we'll spend most of our time discussing these issues, which we think are the most important ones to understand before you cast your vote. Especially in today's economy, everyone is concerned about government spending. So we'll address the question of how much will it cost in two parts. First, how much will it cost? And second, can we afford it? And the answer to the first question is pretty easy to find because there are annual surveys of city managers and because their salaries are public information. As with most jobs, more experience yields more money. Now, we've been told by the managers that we've talked with that there should be plenty of candidates who would have 10 or more years of experience and still would view Freeport as a great place to work. So we'll say that the average salary we should be prepared to pay is around $90,000 per year. As to the second part of the question, can we afford it? The answer is yes, based on making a few changes at City Hall. But as we said earlier, this is not a reflection on any particular mayor or administration. Yet, under the current structure, Freeport citizens are paying approximately $170,000 a year in salary for the mayor and the finance director. The job description of a typical city manager encompasses both of their job functions. So, if the city council were to restructure the salaries as shown, there would be a savings of about $55,000 a year as the mayor transitions into a part-time position. Now, in fairness, the finance director currently manages the water and sewer function as well. So some of that savings may need to be spent to transfer those responsibilities to another staff member. Now, we're not here to predict what the best city organization looks like or how the city council should ultimately set the salaries. In fact, that's one thing we're expecting the new city manager could help with. But we will say that a city manager should not cost more and, in fact, ought to cost less than what is presently being spent. We've already discussed most of these changes. I just emphasize that the city council and the mayor remain as critically important parts of our local government. As the city manager would take over the burden of day-to-day operations, the mayor and council become more able to focus on important tasks, such as creating an environment where businesses can prosper and new jobs can be created, and in being more responsive to the concerns of the citizens. Since we've never gone through this process before, it's natural to feel some level of uncertainty about it. Fortunately, we can draw on the experiences of other cities who've gone before us and on guidance from the Illinois City County Managers Association, which is affiliated with the National ICMA and provides assistance at no charge. One example is their Guide to Recruitment and Selection of a Chief Administrative Officer that is published by the ILCMA to address this exact question. Now, the first step really is an important decision. Should we just hire a headhunter, a search firm, and let them take responsibility? Or should we take on the process of selecting and hiring a city manager ourselves? The very strong recommendation from the managers we've talked to is to take the do-it-yourself approach. Now, this would start by appointing citizens to a selection committee that would manage the entire search process. The committee would represent a good cross-section of the community with as much diversity in terms of age and employment, race, economic status, length of residence, and education, and so forth, as we can get. This is definitely not a process that would be handled through secret backroom meetings. A person with an experienced background in human relations would be a great choice to lead the group through the 5-step process that you see here. The City Council, of course, would have the final say and would have to approve the committee's recommendation to hire a city manager. Now, this is an important job and it needs to be done right. But as you can see, it can be completed in a period of 4 to 6 months. Let's assume that a city manager has been appointed and is in position. Will the citizens of Freeport suddenly realize they've lost control over how their city is operated? Well, in fact, we've learned that the answer is not only no, but that the opportunity to control the top administrative officer has actually been improved somewhat. Under the current system, the mayor is the chief administrative officer and he's elected every 4 years by direct vote. The Freeport codified ordinances spell out some very limited conditions, as you can see, as to when the mayor may be removed from office or has to leave office. So really, the opportunity to change control or exert control happens once every 4 years. With the city manager, the council hires and fires the city manager under the provisions of a legally binding employment contract. And the contract spells out their duties and responsibilities as well as the process by which they can be removed. Typically, the manager is even asked to furnish a surety bond that's conditioned on faithful performance of their duties. So the opportunity to exert control over a city manager is much greater because the city council has the opportunity to do so at every city council meeting. Now, nobody wants to get fired, and it's not likely to happen. But the point is, the citizens have much greater control because, first of all, the expectations of the city manager are clearly spelled out, and they are performance managed by the council on an ongoing basis. So, if necessary, corrective action can be taken anytime if a change is needed. Just no similar mechanism under the mayoral form of government. And frankly, we're told the experience of Rock Island is more typical, where a city manager was recently honored for spending 23 years in that position. Now, some have expressed their concern that city manager may bail for another job, and of course, this is a possibility for any professional. But if it happens, the 5-step process is there to be used again, and in the interim, the disruption to the city is no less than has happened in the past when a new mayor has taken his position. Now, the mayor is a very important member of local government under the council-manager form. Some may recall that moving to a city manager was a recommendation from a blue ribbon commission that was formed by a previous Freeport mayor, in fact, and we've consistently heard how important it is for the mayor, council, and city manager to form a good working relationships. Now, perhaps no one says it better than Amy Vierling, the mayor of Sterling, who, despite having many years of experience as a community college administrator, told us that no way would she have been willing to serve as mayor without having a skilled city manager like Scott Schumard at her side. And by the way, there's a lot of good information available at the ILCMA website, www.ilcma.org. It includes the recruiting guide that I mentioned and more information about the role of the mayor, council, and city manager. Freeport Pro Government believes the manager-council combination brings together the best of both worlds for the citizens of Freeport. The right balance of skills and experience, combining the strong political leadership from the mayor and council with strong managerial experience of a local government professional manager. More representative and responsive, by allowing the elected policymakers to represent the various segments of the community, while an appointed manager carries out those policies and is measured against objective criteria, all under the auspices of a code of ethics that inspires confidence and pride in local government. We are all aware of the need for Freeport to compete in a global economy and to help our local businesses win opportunities that will enable them to grow and create new jobs in our community. City government plays a role in creating a community that is safe, cost-effective, and responsive to its citizens. At times in Freeport's past, we've been all of those things, but there's little doubt that we are now at a point where we need to rally our strengths and balance what has worked well in the past with what is needed to be successful in the future. Some mayors may have the needed skills and abilities. Others may not. The city manager referendum is about taking the selection of a chief executive officer for the city of Freeport out of the realm of chance and making it a decision of choice. Public service is often a thankless job, so we'd like to close by saying thank you to all of those who have stepped forward to serve as mayor or on the city council in years past. We intend no disrespect to them to suggest that the time for this important change is now at hand. We realize this is an important issue and hope this presentation has been helpful to you. We would also ask that you express your support by voting yes to both referendum questions on the November 2nd ballot. Thank you for watching.